Hello, bold and brilliant Leo, the blazing fire at the heart of the Zodiac. This is eternal mindfulness, and if you're watching this right now, let me be clear. This is not just another horoscope. This is a cosmic warning, and a powerful one. Big money is coming your way. Yes, you heard me right. And no, this message didn't find you by chance. Something massive is shifting in your financial frequency right now. The stars are aligning. The energy is building. And over the next 48 hours, a breakthrough may appear that could dramatically shift your abundance, your self-worth, and your entire sense of direction. If your heart is pounding a little harder than usual, if you've been feeling like something is about to happen, but couldn't name it, this is it. The energetic portal that's opening now isn't subtle. It's bold. And so are you, Leo. So let's ground this together. Take a deep breath with me. Place your hand over your heart. And silently speak this into existence. I am ready to receive more than ever before. Now, I want you to drop your angel number in the comments. 888, 444, 717. Whatever keeps showing up for you, share it. That number is your energetic signature in this new wave of manifestation. It's your declaration, I'm in. I claim this. I welcome wealth. And let me take a moment, from my heart to yours, to say this. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. For being here. For watching, liking, subscribing, and sharing this space with me. You are not just a viewer, you are the soul of this community. Your energy expands our reach, and your presence allows us to deliver these powerful downloads to even more beautiful souls. And trust me when I say this, Leo, you'll want to stay with me until the very last second of today's reading, because what the universe is revealing is extraordinary. A financial floodgate is cracking open. An emotional burden is lifting. And the version of you that you've been waiting to meet? They're almost here. Are you ready to discover how the stars are guiding your abundance? Let's step through this portal, together. It's no surprise that the moment you begin to feel a shift inside, the heavens outside are echoing it. The current astrological landscape for April 18th to 19th is not just a cosmic update, it's an invitation. Right now, a surge of solar energy is moving through your field, and because you are Leo, ruled by the sun itself, this energy hits you differently. It doesn't just pass through you. It activates you. The sun is illuminating your action sector, urging you to stop dimming your light and instead, make a conscious return to who you've always been, bold, expressive, courageous, and deeply alive. When Mercury travels in close proximity to this solar path, messages begin to arrive, not always through words, but often as realizations, flashes of clarity, sudden intuition. You may notice synchronicities become more frequent, communication becoming sharper or more emotionally charged. These aren't just coincidences, they are signposts. And if you listen closely, they point you toward choices that are more aligned with your truth. This is the universe's way of saying, I'm speaking. Are you ready to respond? Adding to this beautifully electric mix is Uranus, the great awakener, the disruptor, the planet that nudges us, and sometimes shoves us, into our next level. Its influence around this time acts like a cosmic lightning bolt. You may feel a jolt of realization or find yourself revisiting a long-lost desire that suddenly feels urgent again. Perhaps something you thought was settled, financially, emotionally, even relationally, begins to shift, not because it's falling apart, but because it's clearing space for something much more authentic to rise. If you've recently felt an internal restlessness, a call to clean, move, or release, honor that. It's not just psychological clutter, it's energetic. Just like you wouldn't build a home on unstable ground, your inner world needs space before it can invite new, aligned energy in. A simple action like clearing your desk, deleting an old email thread, or releasing objects that hold outdated emotional charge can open up powerful energetic flow. These acts, though small, are deeply transformative. They are gestures of willingness, and willingness is one of the most potent forces in the universe. Take a moment to consider this. What has moved you emotionally in the past few days? Was it a memory, a conversation, a dream? Often, the heart stirs before the mind can make sense of it. When something touches you deeply, it's not random, it's revealing what truly matters. These stirrings are your internal compass pointing toward the direction of soul fulfillment. Write them down. Honor them. They are the seeds of your next chapter. In this moment, as the sun dances with Mercury and Uranus, the sky is offering you more than just information. It's giving you permission. Permission to break a pattern. Permission to say yes to the unknown. Permission to release what no longer reflects the person you are becoming. Just as the river does not cling to the stone, you too are allowed to flow, without guilt, without fear, without the need to explain your path to those who do not walk it. There is a teaching here, not one to be memorized, but to be lived. The more you step into your own natural rhythm, the more the outer world begins to respond. When you act from a place of genuine alignment, rather than from fear or conditioning, your life becomes a reflection of your deepest truth. The storm of light you're stepping into isn't meant to overwhelm you. It's meant to purify you. And within that clarity, there is peace, not the kind you chase, but the kind that quietly arrives when you stop resisting change. So trust in what's unfolding, even if it feels unfamiliar. The path of growth is rarely predictable, but it is always sacred. Let this moment guide you, not with noise or urgency, but with deep, luminous presence. There's nothing to force, only something to remember. Your light was never meant to be hidden. And this cosmic moment is here to remind you, it's time to shine again. Some messages don't arrive in words, they arrive in symbols, in moments of synchronicity, in a quiet feeling that something is shifting. And when we step into a space of reflection with the tarot and numerology, what we're really doing is listening more deeply, to the rhythm of life, to the quiet voice within, to the undercurrents that are already shaping our next experience. What appears in your field right now is not about prediction. It's about presence. And the cards drawn for April 18, 2025, reflect exactly where your energy has been called to focus, not outwardly on the noise of the world, but inwardly, toward momentum, clarity, and your own creative will. The appearance of the sun in your reading is no accident. In the language of the tarot, the sun isn't just a symbol of positivity or success, it's a mirror. It reflects your essence when it's unobstructed. When this card shows up, it gently reminds you that you don't need to search for the light, you are the light. You don't need to strive for worth, you embody it. And yet, many people forget that light can be a responsibility, too. It's not about always being bright or cheerful, but about having the courage to stay visible, especially when you feel vulnerable. This card calls you to return to your natural state, your joy, your creativity, your truth, without apology. Following that, the Chariot enters with purpose. If the sun illuminates, the Chariot activates. It's the energy of direction, of commitment, of choosing your path and moving forward without getting tangled in the hesitation that often comes with past conditioning. You may find yourself at a crossroads, wondering which direction is right, but the deeper teaching here is that clarity doesn't always come before movement. Sometimes, clarity comes because of movement. When the charioteer takes the reins, they're not waiting for all the lights to turn green, they're aligning their will, and trusting that the road will appear as they move. This moment may be calling you to do the same. Take the first step, not because it's easy or certain, but because staying stuck has become too small for who you are now. Then comes the unmistakable Eight of Wands, a signal that things are speeding up. Energy is moving, fast. Conversations may unfold quickly, opportunities may arrive without warning, and a once stagnant situation might suddenly transform. But this kind of acceleration requires inner steadiness. When life moves fast, the grounded ones don't panic, they breathe. They observe. They act from center, not reaction. This card invites you to stay rooted in your knowing, even as the outer world begins to shift. Think of it like this: a bird doesn't fear the wind because it trusts its wings. What are the wings you've been building, through practice, through patience, through self-awareness, that you can now rely on? Numerologically, the vibration of April 18, 2025, carries the master number 22, a number of powerful manifestation, of building something real from the inside out. It's known as the number of the architect, the one who bridges the ideal and the material. But this kind of building doesn't begin with bricks. It begins with stillness. With a mind that is clear. With actions that are intentional. With values that are not borrowed, but chosen. In one teaching, it said that the outer world is nothing more than the echo of the inner world. So what you shape within, your thoughts, your focus, your beliefs, will, with time, become form. The 22 doesn't just dream. It builds. And this day asks you to consider, what are you building now, not just in your schedule, but in your state of being? There is power here, but it's not the loud kind. It's the quiet, sustained strength of someone who knows who they are. And when you align your thoughts with clarity, when you move forward from choice rather than fear, and when you stay attuned to the signals moving through your life, that's when everything begins to change, not because you forced it, but because you finally allowed it. So stay close to your center. Take action, yes, but from a place of inner alignment, not urgency. The days ahead are not a test. They're an opening. And what you do with them can set the tone for so much more than just this week. It can reset your whole path. Sometimes what we call growth is simply the moment we stop running from ourselves. As the energy of this week continues to unfold, the cosmos gently reminds you that nothing outside of you needs to change in order for you to begin showing up differently. The law of attraction isn't a magic trick, it's a mirror. It reflects back the quality of your attention, your intention, and the energy you choose to embody, moment by moment, breath by breath. When you remember this, life becomes less about controlling outcomes and more about mastering your internal climate. In love, this principle becomes especially powerful. If you are single, you may have been told to look your best, to attract by effort, or to play it cool, but those surface-level tactics rarely lead to depth. What truly magnetizes someone to you is not a perfectly constructed persona, but your willingness to be fully, unapologetically yourself. The more you align with who you are, not who you think you should be, the more naturally you attract relationships that are real, resonant, and life-affirming. And for those already in a relationship, this is a reminder that control and connection cannot coexist. When you release the need to shape someone else's journey and instead meet them where they truly are, a quiet magic begins to unfold. That's when the heart speaks without defense, and love begins to feel less like a performance and more like peace. Work and finances follow the same energetic law. You can only receive what you're truly aligned with, and alignment often requires letting go of what's comfortable but stagnant. This might be the week to ask yourself some honest questions. What am I tolerating that no longer excites me? What have I delayed because of fear, not readiness? Even small shifts in awareness can open the door to massive change. One powerful exercise is to write down 5 things you want to experience or accomplish within the next 6 months. Then, look at that list and ask, which of these am I actively feeding with my daily choices? You might be surprised. Clarity isn't about having the perfect plan, it's about eliminating the noise and choosing again, with purpose. At the same time, it's important not to rush. Action without grounded presence becomes agitation. That's why tending to your physical body and emotional rhythm is just as important as chasing goals. If your nervous system is overextended, your creativity shuts down, your joy dims, and your decisions become reactive rather than intuitive. You might notice symptoms like restlessness, difficulty sleeping, or even emotional irritability. These are not signs that you're weak. They're signs that something within you is asking to be met more gently. Simple rituals go a long way. A warm bath in the evening with orange or lavender oil doesn't just soothe muscles, it signals safety to your body. A short walk in the early morning light can reset your inner compass, helping your mind settle and your heart open. Movement doesn't need to be intense to be healing, it just needs to be consistent, intentional, and rooted in self-respect. When you treat your body like a sacred vessel, it responds with clarity, resilience, and quiet wisdom. And perhaps the most subtle but transformative practice you can carry into the next few days is the art of conscious letting go. Not in a dramatic way, but in the way a leaf releases from the tree at the right time. Is there an outdated habit, belief, or expectation you can gently release today, not to lose it, but to make space for something truer? Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means making room for a better rhythm to take hold. Like water that flows without resistance, you'll find that life often begins to move in your favor the moment you stop pushing so hard against it. Color and symbol are not just decoration. They're memory. They're frequency. They are ancient languages the body still remembers, even when the mind forgets. As we move through this highly charged window of April 18th to 19th, these subtle tools, what you wear, what you see, what surrounds you, can help bridge the space between intention and manifestation. They become more than aesthetic choices, they are energetic anchors. Each color and emblem you align yourself with sends a clear signal to the world. and to yourself, about what kind of experience you are inviting in. Amber orange, for instance, isn't just warm or bold. It embodies the essence of forward motion. It whispers of creative fire, of decisions made with confidence, of moments when you chose action over hesitation. Wearing this shade on a day when you're presenting yourself to the world or stepping into something unfamiliar reminds your nervous system that you are safe to take up space, to move, to lead. It's the color of momentum wrapped in courage. Royal purple, on the other hand, brings a different kind of strength. It invites you inward. It speaks to inner clarity, vision, quiet authority. This isn't the power that demands attention, it's the kind that emanates quietly, the way a mountain does, not needing to explain itself, but always present. When you wear or surround yourself with purple, you're calling on the deeper part of you that knows without needing validation. You are reinforcing your connection to discernment, to perspective, and to the quiet steadiness that holds you no matter how the outer world moves. Stones like carnelian and lapis lazuli aren't just pretty to look at, they carry an energetic imprint that interacts with your own field. Carnelian, with its fiery hues, awakens courage, not the kind that feels reckless, but the kind rooted in self-trust. It reminds you that fear is not a stop sign, just a signal that you're on the edge of expansion. Carrying or wearing this stone during decisions or transitions can help settle the mind and energize the heart. Lapis lazuli, by contrast, calls forward the part of you that already knows. It resonates with deep insight and clarity of thought. It supports honest communication and mental stillness, the clarity before a wise response, rather than a quick reaction. And then there are the symbols, the sun, the crown, the winged lion. These aren't just archetypes tied to your zodiac sign, they're blueprints. The sun is not simply a source of light, it represents the self when it's fully alive. When you place the symbol of the sun on your phone wallpaper, your journal, or your altar, you're setting a subtle but powerful reminder: I am not here to shrink. The crown doesn't mean ego, it means remembering your sovereignty. That your choices matter. That your boundaries are sacred. That your joy is not up for negotiation. And the winged lion? That's the essence of Leo elevated, power not for domination, but for flight. Strength combined with vision. Boldness with direction. Even the smallest acts, like wearing a color that resonates or placing a meaningful symbol in your space, become mindfulness in motion. They are invitations to live on purpose. They support what we practice in silence, presence, choice, and conscious engagement with life. Like leaves moved by wind you cannot see, these symbolic gestures create shifts that the intellect may not immediately understand, but the body, the breath, the heart? They know. They always know. There comes a point on every path when the question is no longer, what should I do next? But rather, who am I becoming as I walk this path? And that is exactly where you stand now. After aligning with the energy of the cosmos, after grounding into action, after remembering the power of color and symbol to direct your attention, this is the moment where something deeper is invited to rise: awareness. Not the kind that arrives with noise, but the quiet knowing that you've been carrying all along. You don't need to perform, to impress, or to wait for validation. Your light is not conditional. It is essential. The world doesn't need another version of who you think you should be. It needs you, exactly as you are when you stop editing your presence to be acceptable. The truth is, most of us were taught that our worth needs to be earned, that our light must be justified. But that's a heavy burden to carry. And slowly, we begin to shrink, not because we aren't powerful, but because somewhere along the way, we learn to dim that power in exchange for safety, approval, or peace. This part of the journey is about unlearning that. It's about releasing the belief that you must wait for permission to shine. Because when you truly realize that your existence itself is the gift, you stop trying to become more and instead begin to reveal what was always within you. There's a quiet practice that speaks to this wisdom. It begins with a single breath, taken in full awareness. Then, the affirmation, not just as words, but as a vibration you allow to settle into your being: I am the light. I am the truth. I am the inspiration for myself and others. You say it once, and the voice might feel unsure. Say it again, and something softens. Say it a third time, and suddenly, your spine straightens, not out of pride, but alignment. This is not about ego. It is about remembering your role in the unfolding of life, not as a background player, but as a presence that makes a difference, whether seen or unseen. To take this further, write down a simple, honest question: what am I ready to release today in order to make space for something better? Don't force the answer. Let it come naturally. Maybe it's a thought pattern that always pulls you back into self-doubt. Maybe it's an old role you no longer need to play. Maybe it's a belief that kept you safe once, but now only keeps you small. Whatever arises, let it be witnessed. Let it be honored. Then gently choose to release it, not with resistance, but with gratitude for the part it played in bringing you here. There's a saying that when the student is ready, the teaching appears. But sometimes, the most powerful teaching is the one you give yourself, when you choose clarity over confusion, presence over avoidance, truth over performance. And in this moment, as the light inside you begins to stir and stretch, you might notice something subtle, a kind of warmth, a return to wholeness. You didn't need to be fixed. You only needed to remember. Let this part of your day be a ritual, not dramatic, but intentional. A return to simplicity. A bow to the present moment. The more often you allow yourself to connect to this space within, the easier it becomes to act from it. And the more consistently you act from it, the more naturally your outer life begins to shift, not because you forced anything, but because you finally aligned with what was already true. You were never too much. You were simply in environments that asked you to be less. But that story is old now. This is the season to stop waiting and start choosing. Choose to believe in your light. Choose to speak with kindness, especially to yourself. Choose to move forward, even if the next step is small. Because everything you're seeking, joy, connection, peace, purpose, has been quietly waiting for you to come home to yourself. And now, perhaps for the first time in a long time, you're truly ready. And now, dear Leo, as we reach the closing moments of this sacred message, I want to remind you of something that perhaps you've known all along, but needed to hear again with your whole heart. You were never meant to blend in. You were born to radiate. You were born to lead not with noise, but with presence. Not with control, but with courage. Your existence is not an accident. Your light is not a coincidence. And your journey, every twist, every lesson, every quiet breakthrough, is part of something far bigger than you can see right now. If even a small part of you feels like something inside has stirred, been seen, or softened during this video, I invite you to honor that moment. What did it bring up for you? What reflection or phrase did you feel in your chest, not just in your mind? Let this not just be something you watch and forget, but something you live forward. If there was one action, one shift, one gentle choice you could make today that would carry this energy into your real life, what would it be? Maybe it's speaking more kindly to yourself in the mirror. Maybe it's writing down what you're releasing, and actually letting it go. Maybe it's finally sending that message, taking that walk, starting that project. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. Small steps, taken with intention, create deep and lasting transformation. Remember, you don't need anyone's permission to begin. You already are the beginning. You are the spark. And you've always had the strength, you just needed a reason to trust it again. So I ask you now, from a place of deep respect and care, what will you do with what you've remembered today? What belief will you choose to rewrite? What version of yourself are you ready to embody, not someday, but now? Let me know in the comments. Truly, I would love to hear from you. Drop the angel number that resonates with your current journey. Is it 111 for a new beginning? 888 for abundance flowing in? Or maybe 555, signaling it's time for courageous change? That one little comment is more than just engagement, it's your energetic yes to the universe. If this video offered something that moved you or brought even a moment of clarity, please take a second to like it. When you do, you're not just supporting the channel, you're helping this message reach someone else who might need it, too. Subscribe if you haven't already, because what we share here at Eternal Mindfulness isn't just content, it's a community, a place to come home to yourself again and again. And if there's someone in your life who feels a little lost in their light right now, send this their way. It might be exactly what their heart was calling for. And finally, never forget, when a Leo rises, the entire world feels the warmth. Your light doesn't just illuminate your own path, it ignites others. So keep going. Keep glowing. Keep choosing yourself. Because your presence is already the miracle. Until next time, thank you for being here. Thank you for being you.